just seems like it was not a random act where somebody broke in and this, trying to steal stuff. Like, it just seems a lot more intentional than that. You think that you just took 2 lives, but you took so much more than that.
That's what had you call 911 in the first place. Like, were you having an argument with somebody?
I didn't got into it, but I'm okay, I promise.
A 911 call reporting a domestic dispute was made months before the mysterious murders of an Ohio dentist and his wife. The unknown caller now revealed this morning. Plus, how could the family dog impact the investigation? Spencer and Monique Tepe's kids and their golden doodle Larry were all found unharmed inside the house. So we're asking, why didn't that dog bark? Also this hour, an au pair, an affair, and now a murder trial. We're talking to an expert about how often this common business relationship will become a problematic one. And we've got a shocking twist in a California courtroom as Nick Reiner's defense attorney withdraws from his case. We'll talk about how that surprising move could tip the scales of justice. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? This is the show where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. Got a big show coming up for you right now, so we'll kick it off as we always do. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. A 4-year-old can ride a tricycle, recite their favorite storybook, tie their shoes, carry a conversation, and ask the question, why? Surely the 4-year-old daughter of Spencer and Monique Tepe is wondering why. Asking her uncle and others probably who are caring for her, why aren't her mom and dad here? Can you imagine how she's going to feel when someone eventually explains to her that they're gone? That precious child has been victimized in an unspeakable way. She and her 1-year-old baby brother have been made orphans by their parents' killer, the stealth savage who violated their home last week, has inflicted those innocent children with a lifetime of heartache and trauma. They were crying hysterically before police went into the house, and sadly, that is just the beginning of the pain that they have been forced to feel. I hope and pray those precious children get the love, support, comfort, and therapy that they're going to need to go through life without their mom and dad. And I hope and pray that police find the killer. And I sure hope prosecutors will consider the death penalty. That's my opening statement on this Thursday morning. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
Now, I'm going to deny the motion for mistrial over your objection, obviously. And I'm going to find under Heath, although it's not a prerequisite, that it was not intentional by the district attorney's office. It was negligent. And I don't believe what was testified to in front of the jury resonated enough to significantly affect your trial strategy.
In Texas, we've got the Uvalde school massacre trial for defendant Adrian Gonzalez rolling on. The cross of the teacher continues after the court denied the defense's motion for a mistrial. Court's going to start up at 10 a.m. Eastern time. In Washington, we've got the state's case continuing at noon today in the cheating fire chief murder trial for defendant Kevin West. This guy's accused of strangling his wife Marcy in order to be with his mistress. Also today at noon in Nevada, we've got sentencing expected for defendant and former porn star Devin Michaels. She's facing up to 51 years in prison for decapitating her ex-boyfriend. Right now, though, we turn to your top story as we're learning more about a 911 call that was made months before the shooting deaths of Ohio dentist Spencer Tepe and his wife Monique. In April of 2025, an unknown woman called 911 and reported a domestic dispute inside of the couple's home.
Hello?
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're crying. Do you need police, paramedics, or anything?
No, I'm okay. I promise. I'm just emotional.
The mystery caller turns out to be a party guest who was fighting with her own partner, not with Monique Tepe. Spencer Tepe's brother-in-law confirms that and also says that the couple hosted a lot of parties, like to have people over, like to have parties at their house. Spencer and Monique's bodies were discovered last week when co-workers got very concerned and stopped by their home even to do a wellness check. The couple's 4-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son, along with the family's golden doodle named Larry, were all found unharmed. Investigators say they were in another room nearby when the shooting occurred. The children and the dog are now in the care of family members, but it has us wondering, why didn't the dog bark? Could this be another possible clue that points to a familiar killer? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in Canine expert, retired police lieutenant Mike Gould, and retired FBI special agent Jennifer Coffindaffer. Good morning to you both. Lieutenant, I'll start with you and that question with the dog. What do you think?
Yeah, Julie, good morning. So, yeah, dogs make great ear witnesses. Often, law enforcement itself forgets that. Dogs are a sophisticated alarm system, and that's why we domesticated them to begin with many, many, many years ago. So, yeah, they distinguish friend from foe many times. Some dogs are more vocal than others. Labradoodles tend to be very vocal, where maybe French bulldogs, maybe not so much. So it is interesting, and not only the dog in the house, but dogs in the neighborhood. When that stranger, whoever he was, that suspect walking through the back alleys, that would have also alerted neighbors' dogs. So once you do your canvass of the neighborhood and find out when did somebody hear a dog bark, that would narrow down the timeline, in my opinion.
Yes, makes sense, Lieutenant. I have a clip of an interview done with Spencer Tepe's brother-in-law, Rob Misley. This was done by our Scripps affiliate local station in Cincinnati. Let's take a look.
How does this happen? This is such a rare thing, and two people that, not a single person could say a bad word about them, are killed in their home. It was her dad on the phone saying that Spencer is dead. And then finally I said, well, where's Monique? Where are the kids? And he said, well, Monique is dead too. They were always having people over. They were just the center of a huge community of friends and family that they were the glue. You don't know how to tell a 4-year-old that they're never gonna see their mom and your daddy again. It's, how do you, and how does the 4-year-old understand?
It's so dreadful, right? Jen Coffindaffer, I want to go to you, please, on the question of how investigators begin to tackle who would want to harm this beautiful couple.
Well, first of all, they have to start with the immediate circle. So they're going to be conducting interviews with all the people who were the very closest to the Tepes. Those individuals, people confide in their friends, people confide in their close family as to if they were having any issues. And law enforcement will run that information to ground, but also that digital footprint. We always talk about it, but basically any social media, any text messaging, what was discussed between the Tepes and other people that might alert law enforcement that there might have been a problem with someone?
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, Jen. Mike, I want to go to you about the use of canines in an investigation like this. We keep seeing that surveillance footage. Columbus police are asking anyone who can identify this person to come forward. It's hard to really see anything identifiable about this person. They're largely covered up. Tell me, can a canine be used in any way to track that person down?
Absolutely, Julie. And unfortunately, to this day, obviously I'm biased towards canines because I believe them as a very sophisticated technology. But our human brain looks for technology, surveillance cameras. That's just where we are, as Jennifer said, digital footprints. So dogs are a tremendous evidence recovery tools. So when you saw that video, the person walking in the back, you see his footprints. He actually leaves an impression on his last step when he steps into the frozen snow. He seems to step in the snow. A dog would, especially in this climate, in the weather, a dog would track those footprints hours later. And you'll see in the last step this person makes, he actually steps into the snow. And that would be preserved because it was in 20-degree weather. This is hunting season for dogs. This is tremendous. So, yeah, unfortunately for me, I'm a big advocate. And sometimes law enforcement, for whatever reason, maybe they don't have the resources, but they don't see these dogs as tremendous scientific technologies that can't be duplicated by any other technology. So the simple question is, yeah, dogs could certainly bring people to the right direction, maybe find weapons. They recover weapons, clothing, all the time. That's what they're trained to do.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Lieutenant, rather. I'm such a big advocate. I've seen them save lives many, many times with cases I've had in person at the courthouse, things they've done, stepping in. I mean, they're just remarkable. And you hope everybody can get those resources in their community. I want to turn to the 911 calls now. Agent Coffin, I want to go to you on this. We have a little bit of a mashup, so to speak, of what came in that morning. Let's listen.
We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell.
What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body. There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, Agent Coffindeffer, you've really been digging in these 911 calls, the timing of them. Your thoughts today?
Well, you know, they still bother me, to be honest with you. I don't understand why an office that opens at 8, why, you know, everybody is so concerned that when you have other dentists in the office, 2 other dentists, fairly large staff of about 7 other hygienists and dental assistants that they couldn't cover for a half an hour. I also find it interesting that they went straight to the house. In other words, what about a car wreck? This guy had an 1 and 15-minute commute. It was icy conditions, as we saw there. It just seems like a quick leap. But Julie, I wanted to alert you to something else that I'm trying to track and nail down. And that is Google searches specifically on this wedding video and also Google searches on Mr. Tepe. We saw this in the Brian Kohberger case. And I did a big a spread on it, and I'm working on the same thing here. Who in the world was Googling him at numerous times? Dr. Tepe, when he was never Googled before. We're seeing that on certain dates and also watching that video. So it's pretty interesting.
Ooh, boy, that's fascinating. You know, so somebody essentially could have been watching him from afar, doing some stalking behaviors from afar online. Ooh, that's chilling. Agent Coffindeffer, keep us posted on anything you learn regarding that. Lieutenant Gould, let me turn to you, because the calls and the timing, it may be strange, maybe not, right? Depending on this guy's habits. If he's such a creature of habit and like never in his life has gotten into the office a minute after 7 a.m., you know, maybe you can see why. If you're looking to talk to all those people, who do you start with? Do you try to find the person who kind of got the ball rolling with the panic? How do you do it? I'm curious how you go about interviewing all those people, Lieutenant.
Right, well, first of all, everyone's a suspect. Family members, business partners, the health of that business, because, I mean, it's the owner of the business called from Florida. I mean, again, we don't have enough evidence to suggest anything, but the police, I'm sure, do. I'm sure the police right now have a tremendous amount of surveillance cameras. They're interviewing all these people. Of course, they got to be very careful not to jeopardize the investigation. But you start with, as we always do, who's the first one? An hour and a half, as Jennifer said, is not a long time for the police to start a missing persons case. Of course, a welfare check was appropriate. They went and they left, actually, and then it was an employee who came, from what I understand, and actually saw the bodies. But yeah, you start from the inner circle and work your way around, and social media. All of these things will come to play. I don't think it's going to be a complicated investigation. I just think it's too early for law enforcement to start to show their hand.
Sure. That's really helpful, Lieutenant, how you said that. Everybody's a suspect when you start out, and then you weed people out as you go. And then I guess one final point, I'm thinking as you're talking, Lieutenant, and Jen, you mentioned this, that the long drive, how there could have been, a car accident or something, why everybody went to the house. That's a long drive to get to the house. It's not like it's, just a hop, skip, and a jump across town. So you wonder what time the person left to get there. It's all just kind of a head scratcher at this point. We'll see what happens and who police narrow things down to. We've got to leave it there, I'm being told. Great insight from you both. As always, Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, Lieutenant Mike Gould, thank you both kindly. We're going to hit a break here on opening statements. Here's what's coming up next.